Welcome to Vinyl Happy Hour. It's a big weekend at Culture Shock because we're doing our weekly Vinyl Happy Hour with all the new vinyl releases that are coming out for this week. And it's the follow-up to Record Store Day, part 2 kind of. So records are on everybody's mind this week and it's really happening at Culture Shock. So we're going to have 2 videos this week. Hopefully you've also seen the Record Store Day rundown that talks more about the Record Store Day releases that are dropping here for June 18th. But this is our regular weekly Vinyl Happy Hour where we talk about my top 5 picks for the week, some various reissues, and new releases. So we're going to jump right into it. I'm Skylar Davis, owner of Culture Shock Clothing and Records right here in Rockford, Illinois. And of course of CultureShockShop.com, where if you're not local, you can find these records we're talking about on our website for purchase and shipping, or even reserved for in-store pickup if you are local. Got a little drink, it's been a hot week. Made myself a little fancy old-fashioned with very few ice cubes. Last week I had a bunch of ice cubes and I could hear them jingling in the video. I apologize for that. Never again, I promise. Usually I drink things neat. But let's jump right off. A lot of the records I want to talk about tonight are actually reissues of albums that I love or people need, or they've been rare or hard to find. But this is actually a brand new release from an older band. Stabbing Westward were a late 90s, early 2000s industrial band, and I talk about them in past tense because I kind of feel like they were past tense. I hadn't heard much from them over the last few years, but they actually surprised me with this Chasing Ghosts album, a brand new album. They're like new wave metal, industrial, kind of a mixture of all of that. Their classic albums are amazing. Those late 90s, early 2000s ones, just really good. But different than a lot of other industrial bands, the vocals are much more melodic, very smooth, new wave sounding. So even if you're a fan of anything heavier from, let's say, even Rammstein to KMFDM, this also crosses over if you're more into, let's say Gary Newman or Depeche Mode, of course, and things like that. This is not, fancy color vinyl or anything like that, but it is a great sounding record, a great sounding release, and I absolutely love the artwork. Let's show off this jacket a little bit. It's a double LP also. I don't even know what type of art to explain this as, but I'm very into like Salvador Dali and some stuff like that. So this artwork is very appealing to me, and I love that they take full advantage of the gatefold with just beautiful artwork, a nice glossy jacket, not horribly thick or anything. But I also noticed here, just kind of playing it today and looking around at it, that all 4 sides of the record label incorporate artwork from this piece. And it's not just repeated. A lot of times you'll see a record and it'll have the same stuff on every label. But they really have this like trees and skulls motif going on. Hopefully you can see that. Very, surrealistic or whatever. Nice thick vinyl with the poly-lined inner sleeves. And then also just kind of more additional track listing with that repeated artwork. Now it is repeated. But cool, that could even be a cool little piece of art to hang or just to hang on to. But yeah, so brand new release from them. This band's been, they've been around for quite a while. So it's really cool to hear them putting out something new. And I don't know. I think it could appeal to a lot of people. Obviously, the original fans are going to be ones picking that up probably, but I think it should turn on to a lot of new people. All right, now we're going to go in a complete different direction. Like, there's so many releases coming out from older artists, newer artists. This just bears mentioning, I think, because Rae Jepsen's album, Kiss, which of course a lot of people know, Call Me Maybe and stuff like that, it's actually been very hard to get on vinyl. So is this only the 10th anniversary of this? Yeah, it's 2012, so 10 years ago when Call Me Maybe kind of blew up, was her big track. But if you only know her for that, I actually have to ask you to listen to some of her albums. Kiss is a good one to listen to. I would probably say like Emotional is probably the one to listen to. Just a great pop album, it really is. I'm not ashamed to say I love pop music, even though I'm predominantly into like metal, hardcore, and also jazz and prog metal and stuff like that. So I listen to a lot of things, but you may want to check this out. And also it's been hard to find, so I'm glad they're doing reissues of it. Honestly, the stuff from the 90s and 2000s was hard to get on vinyl, but even stuff in these last 10 years, a lot of artists, even big artists, don't usually press, a million copies of anything. So it's good to see. Now we're going back to a way old reissue, and it's going to be hard to show off the artwork on this a little bit, but Integrity for Those Who Fear Tomorrow. And I'm sorry, I forgot the date on this. This is 90s too, I think. Mid 90s, early 90s. But this is a reissue of a cool metal hardcore band, and the artwork is this gloss print. So you can see the track listing and some of the artwork. It's in this kind of like clear gloss print. Like hopefully you can see that skull on the cover, but even if you can't see that, what you're gonna wanna see is the white and pink and red splatter color vinyl. So Relapse Records actually did this reissue. So this is Integrity for Those Who Fear Tomorrow. Their debut album remixed by Arthur Risk, who also did work with Creator, Code Orange, Power Trips, and things like that. Oh, what? Igor Cavalera from Sepultura is on the drums on this? What? Is that? Wow, that's amazing. So that's kind of a cool connection there to have too. So anyway, this is just a good metal hardcore, kind of got like that, almost more of like a punk metal edge to them. Really cool reissue. Originals of this, of course, very hard to find. It's cool to see these reissues coming out, and Relapse is doing these really cool special like splatter color vinyl. Oh, this does come with a poster too. I mean, again, the artwork is very, this band is kind of deals in a lot of really dark, heavy things. So that is the fold out artwork. If you can see it kind of repeated from the inside, you do get all the track listing and lyrics on the B side here of the poster. Anyway, it's driving me crazy. I forgot what year that was, but all I know is I've never seen it on vinyl. It's been tough to get. So that's Integrity for Those Who Fear Tomorrow. I have actually a special box set I want to mention too, but let's talk about this Bill Evans piece first. So Verve Records has been actually doing some really high quality jazz reissues, and this is kind of part of what they're calling the Acoustic Sound series of a lot of just really classic jazz pieces. But the artwork and the way they're reissuing these are like the original Verve records, just this super thick board, you know, this kind of thick board glossy LPs in a gatefold jacket. Such a nice job on these reissues. Also, so this Bill Evans 65 piece, this is, you know, piano, drums, and bass. So you've got Bill Evans on piano, Chuck Israel on bass, and Larry Bunker on drums. It's got a kind of a funny story because I was reading in here that a different jazz musician had referred to Bill Evans saying he was greater than Charlie Parker, just in his own way, just as a musician, not directly compared to him, just up there in the air with an artist as good as Charlie Parker. And that's a pretty big name to throw out there. So evidently Bill Evans, when he met up with that jazz artist, said, hey, you got me in trouble with some Charlie Parker fans. So that was kind of a funny story to read. A lot of these older jazz records had a kind of a write-up about some of the artists on there. This is all completely analog from the original analog tapes. So that's why we're really caring about these audiophile jazz pieces and reissues. Nothing digital, anything like that. As you can see, this is part of the Acoustic Sound series. The little insert that comes with it showing some of the releases that have come out. I love and I hate that it comes with these inserts because it makes me want to collect every single record that has been released, even if I'm not that interested in it. Which I actually did get, you know, quite a few. I got the Coltrane, the other Evans. I am really wanting this Clifford Brown Study in Brown. I don't know why that sold out like a couple years ago. I can't get my hands on one. We can't get any more in the store. But we do have several of these still available in the store and on our site here at cultureshockshop.com. In the link below in the staff picks, there's a direct link to these records that we're showing off here if you want to get to those. And then of course you can pre-order upcoming releases and check things out. But these Acoustic Sound series, what's really nice about them is they put their little sticker on there. That little sticker will let you know if you want to get these high quality. It's kind of like the Blue Note Tone Poet if you've seen these. But these are reissues from the original tapes, manufactured quality record pressing on 180 gram vinyl. But yeah, these are all top like audiophile pressings. It's funny, I was listening to this and I swear I was like, is my amp off? I dropped the needle on the record and I heard nothing for like a few seconds on the lead-in track. You know how typically you put on a record and you'll hear a little bit of a like a little hiss or just a little noise as the lead-in track starts to play. I could hear nothing. It's just such a great pressing, just such a beautiful record. So all of like those Blue Note Tone Poet and these Acoustic Sound series are just stunning sounding records. So definitely this is a cool jazz piece too, because like I said, it's just got kind of a little, he actually does like Round Midnight stuff, kind of a Thelonious Monk piece, and a couple Miles Davis pieces even too, which, you know, it's a lot of From the Birth of Cool, some like the earlier jazz stuff, a lot of great songs and covers on there, but that's like a really nice mellow piece, just the guitar, drums, and bass. That's an easy one to get into, even if you're not huge into jazz. So, all right, guys, let's talk about the big holy grail here, the big piece. This is Soulfly. The Soul Remains Insane. This is their studio albums from 98 to 2004. So this has 4 LPs, which are mostly double LPs, and a record of unreleased material. This is some stuff, kind of harder to get stuff from them. They're just like a kind of this South American tribal, just new metal sound. Of course, the Caballero brothers and stuff had been part of Sepultura, and then Soulfly kind of was an offshoot of that original band. So it's an 8 LP box set. You get Soulfly self-titled, Primitive, Prophecy, and then Soulfire is like a bonus LP. Actually, Primitive looks like that's a double LP. All of the albums are double LPs, and Soulfire. And then you also get some unreleased tracks and things like that. There's a 40-page book with some memorabilia and photos. So really cool to see these box sets coming out. We don't get a lot of box sets, but certainly there's something that aren't around long usually. They don't make 100,000 or a million copies of these, probably just a few thousand. But yeah, that's just kind of like our top 5 picks for this week. Be sure if you haven't seen it yet, because we typically just do 1 video a week for Vinyl Happy Hour, go back and check out the Record Store Day rundown, because Record Store Day this year got kind of split in 2, and we're doing another kind of a release of that, and that's going to be in a separate link. Actually, since it's so close, we'll have a separate link here in the description of this video. So one will be for the staff picks, which are talking about the kind of top picks for the week. The other link will be for the Record Store Day, June 18th, like part 2 releases, if you want to check that out. Those, if you're looking right now, though, wouldn't be available till Sunday morning, June 20th, because we can't sell those online till the day after Record Store Day. But if you just want to get the info or see what's getting released, that link is there. So please, we appreciate you watching this, getting some likes, some subscriptions. So we'll see you next week. Cheers.